Hi, I'm Susan.
I'm Jim.
This is Maggie. Oh, and Sheena just left. Anyhow, we're the family. And this is Managing Life 101, where if you don't manage life, it is going to manage you.
Amen.
And today we want to talk about something that's really important. And it's about that if you need help, learn to ask for it.
Amen. Ask for it.
Learn to ask for it.
Yeah, and
That
then when
is
you-
so huge.
When you ask for it, and then people give you direction, I call it good, orderly direction from people who know. Don't ask help from people who don't know. You know what I mean? Ask help from people who are experts in whatever it is that you're seeking to find out
Right.
about. And then once they give you that help and that direction, you got to do it.
Well, I just think it's so interesting. I know we were both
Simple. Well, we're done. We're done now.
Yeah, we're done. But we both went like to say something. I think it's really good that you mentioned that too, because how many times I'm thinking back to especially before I got sober, and who would I go to ask for help? I mean, maybe a girlfriend or somebody that was just didn't know any more than I did.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, which I thought they might have, but really they didn't.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal when I learned about it, and how it really happened is it was really a pivot point for me in my life, when I've mentioned before, but I'll talk about just briefly my taco moment. And this was my moment of clarity where I felt that God really just like said, Susan, this is not how I want you to live your life. And it was my sobriety and getting sober.
Yeah.
And I don't need to go into the details, but it definitely was that. And the very first thing I did, even before get sober though, is I knew I needed help.
Yeah.
And so the very first thing I did was I called a friend, not to ask for the help, but to ask for if they knew of someone that I could talk to, like a therapist, to really start to get some help. And
Good
what
for
what that did is that really led me to the ability to admit that I had a drinking problem. And then I started going to AA. And the really good news about when you get sober, the ideal thing is you get a sponsor, and the sponsor is someone that's further down the path.
Yeah.
So that's the real key. The real key is you want to, if you need help, you go to someone that's been further down the path than you about whatever. That was Sheena. She was further down the path about letting us know what's going on. And they're going to give you good, orderly direction. And when that happens, what you want to do is you do want to do it. In sobriety, it's called working the steps.
True.
And you want to go through the steps and work them.
I can't tell you how many mothers, wives, not that many husbands, mothers, wives, I've spoken with regards to their husbands or their sons or their daughters who were alcoholic, drug addicts, spending all the money, you know. And I would say, okay, I sympathize with you. I'd meet them for coffee. I'd say, well, you need to go to Al-Anon. And then sometimes I'd say, well, I tried Al-Anon, I didn't like it. I'd say, I don't care if you don't like it. Go anyway. You can't just go to one or two meetings and say, well, no, I don't get, no. No. I can tell you for a fact, if you'll go to Al-Anon, if you're dealing with an addict, it'll change your life for the better.
Yeah.
And it'll change their lives
Yes.
for the better.
Yes.
Because you won't be the pillow for them to land on every time they blow their brains out with regards to spending all their money, getting hammered, getting fired, you know, getting high, wrecking the car, getting a DUI.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
All the things that you won't be there for them to call
Right.
and be their little parachute.
Right.
And they will come to the end of themselves.
Yeah.
And then they'll have to really ask for help and mean it, because nobody is going to be there to help them. And that's what it took for me.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that it went like that. But my mom went to Al-Anon.
Yeah.
She went to Al-Anon because I could always manipulate her. And she started going to Al-Anon. I didn't, unbeknownst to me, but I noticed the locks were changed on the house. Every time I would call there, as soon as she would hear my voice, hang up, not say a word. And it just irritated the hell out of me because I couldn't manipulate her. And her being a mom, it really hurt her to do that to her son.
Of course.
But she knew she had to.
Yeah.
And of course, I had ample opportunity to make that up to her once I got sober and be there and take care of her for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, asking for help and then going. I got a number texted to me the other day of a man whose wife was an alcoholic. I called his number and I said, I got your name and number from a friend, giving you a call because your wife's an alcoholic. I said, so is mine. Mine is too. And I said, and so am I. And I said, although we've been sober for decades, and I said, yeah, I'm happy to help you any way that I can. And my name is Jim, and I left my number, and I haven't heard back.
Right.
And I doubt if I will. I can't tell you how many calls I've made like that. Somebody asks for help, the help shows up, and then they don't do it. They don't do anything.
Yeah.
I was the guest speaker at a hospital program years ago. This young guy comes up to me afterwards and he says, man, he says, you and me, we're going to be like this. He says, I'm going to have you over for barbecues at the house with the family, and I'm going to stick to you like flypaper. And he said, yeah, I want you to be my sponsor. And I said, happy to be your sponsor. And the next day he left the program and left treatment, and I never heard from him again.
Yeah.
And I jokingly call it my miracle cure because like all he had to do was just talk to me, and from that point forward he was no longer an addict or an alcoholic.
Right.
And his life was wonderful.
Yeah.
And just like the guy yesterday, I called him, left a message, happy to help any way I can. I'll never hear from him.
Well, you don't know that you won't.
I hope I do.
Yes, that's all we can do.
But if the odds are, I won't.
Yeah.
And I call it the miracle cure.
Yeah.
I know it isn't, but I mean, it's just the way life is. When you need help,
Yeah.
ask for it.
Yeah.
And then when the help shows up, you got to do what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
Because they know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and that we really focused on, the personal part as far as getting into recovery, and maybe you hopefully you're not an addict or an alcoholic. I mean, if you are, there is help out there. Get it. Why I think one of the other things is the book Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
We have a book club where we mentor young women, and one of the books we always read is called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And what we love about that book so much is because he really lays out a way for you to improve yourself. If you want to grow your business, if you want to have a better life in this particular aspect, because it's really a way to lay it out, and it's a formula, and it is great if you'll do it.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the thing, if you'll do it. And one of the big things he talks about in the book, and we love, are affirmations. And affirmations are fantastic. And an affirmation is simply, like you had a great affirmation in the beginning, I'm in the right place at the right time all the time.
Yeah.
And it's a way to rewire your brain to be able to look on the positive side of things. Because frequently when we're going and we're asking for help, it's usually not because it's yippee-i-yo-ki-yay, I'm having a great time.
Well, I mean,
it could be.
One of the big lessons in that book is always deal with experts.
Always.
And, your gardener's out there and he's doing that. and you just happen to mention to him, gosh, wow, I saw a wet spot on my ceiling, my roof must be leaking. He says, well, I can fix that.
Yeah.
No,
No.
call a roofer.
Yeah.
Deal with experts.
Right.
They know what they're doing. And not that the gardener's not a good guy, but he's not a roofer,
Right.
And I just learned over the years through, I didn't have to go through many trials and errors.
Yeah.
A couple times.
Yeah.
And, but that was a big lesson from Think and Grow Rich, was always deal with experts.
Always deal with experts.
So when it comes to alcohol, drugs,
Yeah.
gambling, sexual addiction, get professional help.
Yes.
Get knowledgeable guidance.
Yes.
And it's not hard to find in today's world.
No, it's not.
It's really all over the place. So.
And the most important is God.
Absolutely.
I mean, you really,
Pray about everything.
really pray about everything.
Mhm.
And God will send you the help.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing, is to recognize when the help shows up.
Listen.
Listen
and do
to
it.
what they have to do.
Listen and do it.
So, we're going to wrap this up. And what I want you to challenge yourself today is to think, where do I need help in my life right now? It could be something minor, or is something really big going on. But take a look around your life, and what is it that you could use help in?
Mhm.
When you narrow it down, seek the help. Find the help and do what they tell you to do.
Amen.
And that is Managing Life 101, where if you don't manage your life, it is going to manage you.
Mhm. Bye.
Bye-bye.